Yeah, so again, the final girl. The concept of this game is pretty much you're the final girl, you're running around, you're trying not to get killed by the killer. There's victims in Camp Happy Trail, just like in Friday the 13th. You got that little map view, and pretty much you're running around, you're trying to save some of these victims in order for them not to get killed. At the same time, the killer is going towards these victims or towards you in order to kill you. And the more hearts that you have left, obviously the more you continue to die. But however, you do have some cards here that help you from not getting killed or even retaliating as the killer tries to kill you or try to hit you for damage. But again, the concept is running around trying to save these victims, or the killer trying to kill these victims in order to increase their level in hit points, or how many times they could actually move in around the map. All right, so the way it works is what you're gonna have is you're gonna have these cards right here. So you're gonna have these cards right here. You're gonna have your close card, you're gonna have guard, sprint, search, distraction, planning, focus, improve, retaliation, fear strike, low rest, critical blow. Now these are your cards that you're going to be utilizing in order to move around, sprint, walk. You're going to be doing your action cards. Now the way you start off is you're going to go ahead and start off with these cards. Now as you can see, each card down below has a 0. Now these, what it means is right here in this timer, this is going to be how you're going to get cards from your actions. For your, pretty much your buying, this is going to be your currency in how you're going to be able to buy these cards based off of the icons in the bottom. Like 2, it's going to be worth 3 time, 4. Each one has a different time. As you can see, this one's 0, so these are going to be for free. So the way it starts the game, you're going to set up your game. You're going to make sure you actually put your item cards down here. Your item cards have pretty cool little things that you could actually utilize in order to either save that are going to give you that ability, like a knife, whistle, or extra lucky dice to roll. It's going to be something different, and each pile has 4, and the top card is going to be the only one revealed when you put your item cards there. Your setup card obviously is going to be how you're going to set up your victims, how you're going to set up where your killers are going to be, where you're going to be at, and it's going to give you a little, map here where you're just going to follow, and you're going to, 2 here, 1 there, and you're just going to go ahead and place all your victims where there's a number, and then on the yellow, that's you, and the red is the killer, so that's where you're going to place your startup. And there's a multiple setup cards, but you're going to shuffle them, and then you're going to end up placing all your victims, the killer and yourself, based off of that setup card. Now you have additional here little players. Now those are going to be special players in the game. It'll tell you, hey, reveal this. You have a boyfriend, put them on the map and place them with you, or your babysitter, or whatever scenario is based off of the event card right here. Now when you first start the game, you want to reveal an event card, which for this one it says Dark Waters. You're just going to go ahead and read the event card. This one says, place a Dark Waters token at the lake. All victims at the lake are killed. Whenever a victim enters the lake, they are killed immediately. So obviously there's no one at the lake right now, so you're going to go ahead and place this icon right off the bat, and that's your setup. As long as that card is out there, anyone that enters those waters is going to die, so you don't want to go there. All right, your tarot cards, these tarot cards are going to be like, you're going to have 10. There's about 20 other cards, but you're going to shuffle them, and you're going to pretty much get 10 of them, and they're all different. And now the tarot cards are pretty much the action of the killer. All these have something that the killer's going to do. Like, for instance, example, let's just go ahead and get an easy one here. Horrific hammer rush. If there are no victims on the board, discard and draw the next terror card. Otherwise, target a victim. You walk 2 spaces towards it. And then, if there's 2 victims in that spot, you get to kill 2 people. If there's 1 victim, well, you can't do anything. You just kill 1 person. But if you have multiple individuals in here and he moves towards there, like for instance, this right here, he moves there, he could actually kill those 2 automatically, which is not a good thing. But again, there are all these cards and they're all different. Now this card right here says Holy Speed. This card is kind of like a power that they gain, and it'll go right here if this comes out, and they'll get an extra heart placed on here, and you can't hurt them until you get rid of this heart. So if you hurt them twice, all you pretty much is getting rid of these cards first before you start getting rid of his actual life hearts. But it just gives them that extra 2 hearts, and it's in here. If you run out of these, pretty much his terror level is going to increase drastically. Pretty much if you're towards the end of those cards, is not a good thing for you. You want to kill the killer before those terror cards end, because their level is going to be so high by that time when you finish that card, those 10 cards, that you're probably going to end up dying. So it's kind of like gives you that ability to understand, oh man, it's about to get really heavy with the killing once those are gone. Going into these right here, again, you got your victims here. So sometimes you're gonna get victims where, like, say you can get 10 of them in here. Say for some reason, rare reason, you get 10 victims, and it gets so overcrowded, you could actually place all these 10 victims in here, and you just grab this little token, and then you just place it there representing everyone that's in here. So it's just a way to kind of make the map more clear for you to see what's going on, and that's what this is for. Going on to, you got your little tokens that give you that ability, just like we put down right here. Those are some things like a speedboat and fireworks and stuff like that, hidden passageways, and I think a trap. And going downwards, all right, so again, I've spoken about this right here. These are your action cards. Let me go over this wheel here. This is going to be your you're going to always start off based off of right there. It's going to give you the default of 4. Start off right here, 4. This meter here is going to determine how many dice you'll be able to throw. Now I'm going to go over why it's so important to have 2 dice to throw, and why it's not good to have 1, or what's great about 3 dice. Now the way this meter is going to go is based off of these right here, your hockey masks. If anytime a victim dies, pretty much that's a splatter, and the splatter, what happens is this is going to go up, right? Every single time someone dies, it's going to go up. And what's crazy about it is the killer, his movements could start increasing as the splatter starts going up, meaning the horror, and also how many times he could kill. Like his damage is 2, so you don't want it to go up, because then his damage is 3 up here, and then it's 2 to 3 and all the way to 5, and that's not a good thing. So, and every single time you hit a hockey right here, you got to go down. And the more down you go, the more closer you get to the 1 dice. And that is not good, because when you start using, say, I want to use focus in order to increase this back over here, I'm going to roll dice. And this is one example. So say I have my dice and I say, okay, come on, 2 stars. If I get this right here, that means I didn't get anything. Pretty much 0 stars. If I get this says that I could discard 2 cards out of my hand. I could choose 2 cards to make this into a star, into a success, pretty much. And then I'll be able to, do what it says here, which is, go down a horror, and then, but I would have to go down a clock, which again, this is my currency to get more cards. All right, and that's where it hits. And sometimes, if you get this right here, that's not good, because you're going to have to go down 2 and you're not going to be able to get anything out of that turn, which is not a good thing. Obviously, if I get 2 stars, which is the greatest thing you could ever get with a focus, that's good, because now I could go 1, 2, and then I get 2 hourglasses, and it increases my currency to get more cards, which that's how it works. And you got your short rest. You want to use these cards, like in the beginning of the game, I don't want to use my short rest because I already have my max hearts. You got to stay within your defaulted hearts. As you can see, your player has 6, and that's the max that she could have. So again, you came past that, so you don't want to use rest. Weak attack, focus, walk again. If you get 2 stars, that's good, because I move up 2 spaces. However, I've got to use a currency, and 1 star. I get 1 star pretty much. Move up 1 space only, but I again use a currency, or I don't get anything, and then I move up 1 space. However, I take a damage, and then I lose 2 currencies. So that's not good, and that's how these things work here. It's a pretty cool little card concept. The mechanism in reference to using cards and determining what you're going to do and what you can't do is a real cool thing in this game. So that's pretty much how that works. Now, obviously, if you continue going down here, it increases your dice. So you want to be here in reference to being able to get to roll 3 dice, because it increases your chances to be able to get 2 successes, or 1 success. And obviously, the way you could get there is by using focus. Focus is a good card to try to get you all the way to the green area, or sometimes there's other cards that will help you get there. But say you're down here on focus and you're finally all the way, and you still get focus, and you for some reason you increase by 2. Well, every single time reduce the horror to 1. Instead of reducing, because you can't go nowhere, you actually get 1 more time for your currency, which is a pretty cool little mechanism. And that's how it works. And the same concept on the other side. If you get another horror for some reason and you're here, well, it's not going to be a horror, it's going to be a splatter. So you're just going to have to increase your splatter. You don't want that. So that's pretty much how this works, this mechanism works. So going to the killer here. So what happens with a killer is when it's his turn, he automatically targets a victim in his spot. So say he's right in his spot. It targets, he doesn't move, he just targets. There's no one there to target in that spot, because it doesn't have a boot. It doesn't have a walking. So he just stays in place. And if there's a victim there already, for some reason it starts off with a victim, he automatically kills that victim, which is not a good thing. But there's no one there for this scenario. Every single time it's the killer's turn, he does that action first, and then he does the terror action, which is we reveal this. As he's going up in the splatter, and once he gets to here where it says power, the killer has 2 cards, 2 different cards for his top and bottom. And one represents dark power, and then the other one represents finale, which is pretty much once it gets to the top, it's really bad, a bad day, because he gains a power. And you're going to shuffle these cards, and then you're going to go ahead and just put a card down for the bottom, and then a top card once you're finished shuffling them top. And each card represents a different power. So this one is bloodbath, and it, as you can see, his action increases drastically. Like he targets, he moves 2, he could kill 2 people on the spot. And there's other different ones like in here, sledgehammer massacre. It just increases his power to where the point where, like, if you haven't killed him by then, he's probably going to kill everyone on the map. So you don't want to get to the top You want to make sure you kill him before he literally gets to that point where he could turn over that card. But again, that's what that is, which is a pretty cool little mechanism. And you place the rest of the cards away for another day, another game later on. And that's pretty much how the killer works, pertaining to how he kills people and how he increases his power. So the last thing I want to mention pertaining to this game is that, just like the final girl in any movie, you're running around, and when you think the killer is dead, he pretty much comes back to life. Now, the great part about this game is they incorporated that into this game. So say you end up killing the killer, right? He loses all these hearts. So he finally has this token right here. Now there's all these other tokens that I kind of shuffled around, and the other side of these tokens, there are either 1 heart, 2 hearts, 3 hearts, or there's no hearts. And what you do is, you, without looking in the bottom, you put a heart, one of these tokens, on the final girl and the killer. And at the end, when they have no hearts, say the killer, I finally about to kill him, and he gets killed, right? He loses all his hearts, to include this one right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reveal it, and hopefully there's no more hearts. And if there's no more hearts, he pretty much dies. However, say if I were to get this token right here, let me see. Okay, so say if I were to get this token right here, that means the killer is still alive and he has 1 heart. So you would grab this token right here, representing that he's been killed once, but he came back to life and he has 1 heart. Now, what's cool about him having 1 of these single hearts is that you automatically, say if you're here on the 2 dice, you automatically get an extra dice. It's kind of like an adrenaline rush that you get. So that's pretty much what's cool about it. Now, say you are almost dead too. Obviously, you would flip this and hope that there's a heart, and you would win. But obviously, there's no heart, and you're pretty much dead. And that's pretty much how that mechanism works. Sometimes there are tokens with 2 or 3 hearts in it, which is pretty cool. But say you have only 1 heart, and what happens is you too, say you have 1 heart, and you will put 1 here. And now what's cool about this is that you would actually also get a second dice for your turn, and now you have 4, because obviously he has 1 heart and you have 1 heart, and over here, as you see, +1 dice, and then he also has +1, but it wouldn't be towards him, it would be for you. So now you have 4 dice, and it will probably be a great time to utilize critical damage, which is pretty much 3 damage. And sometimes you get weapons like the knife that gives you an extra damage if you have it on your, so that'll be 4 damage. And that's how you pretty much kind of fight the killer in order to win. But that's pretty much how that goes in reference to trying to kill the killer. And hopefully, you know, he dies the first time, but you know, like the movies, sometimes they come back to life, and when you least expect it, you end up dying. And you never know what's gonna happen. Sometimes I've heard where a game goes by quick, and sometimes the game goes by fast. Sometimes the game ends up taking long. But again, you're gonna come to a point where you're gonna have to make a decision. Should I get a guard, or should I just retaliate, or should I just do furious strikes, or what should I get in order to have on my hand to fight the killer? Or do I want to save victims? Because again, going back to you when you're playing, and something I forgot was you can play as 2 victims. You have, for this game, you have Laura and Rico. And say I'm playing Laura or Rico, right? What's cool about these characters is you have so you have Rico here, and every single time you save a victim, you actually here you could gain 2 time. So you'll pretty much grab the victim, you'll save the victim. Say you save 2 victims, you grab it 2 times and save this victim. You grab, if you're damaged, you're able to heal yourself. However, if you're not damaged, you don't want to use that. But say you want to use move 1 space, and you just cover that up. Now once you cover all these slots right here with your victims you saved, if you'll flip it, and then it has a pretty cool little action that they'll do, their power level. So it says right here, once per action phase, if any enemy is within 2 spaces, you may move to that enemy space for free. For each additional victim saved, you get a time. So that's pretty cool. So, and that's pretty much what she does. Now obviously Laura, a different character, she actually does something different. So, but we're playing with Rico, and she will go there until I save 5 victims, and then I flip it, and then that's when her special powers comes to a play. But I think I've covered enough about this game that we could actually start playing a playthrough in the future. Again, thank you so much for joining me on this piece of content. Please don't forget to subscribe, like this content, and I'll catch you on the flip side when we're playing this game.